The Congressional Leadership Fund, a super PAC promoting GOP House candidates, pulled $1 million of ad buys from the Denver market supporting Mike Coffman this week. However, the National Congressional Leadership Committee said it would spend $600,000 on Coffman in the race a few days later. David, you have two organizations making a bet, one pulling their money, one putting down more money. Which organization made the wiser bet?
Well, to start with, the TV advertising in that particular race is a expensive and somewhat inefficient thing in the sense that when you buy an ad that's going to be seen in Coffman's district, you're also buying one that's going to be seen in several other congressional districts. You know, it's not as bad as like trying to do TV in a New York City congressional race, but it's not the most efficient use of your money. But I think it's notable that not only did this Republican super PAC pull out, but the House Majority PAC, which is a Democratic PAC, pulled its money from Jason Crow, which is a way of saying on both sides, we think that Crow is set to win this. Now, that is decisions like that are often good indicators of what's eventually going to happen, but not always. So in the last election, Ron Johnson, the incumbent senator from Wisconsin, was in such deep trouble that all the national Republican groups pulled out, and he was, to heck with all that, I'm just going to go ahead and fight on. And to the surprise of many, many people, he ended up winning that election. Certainly Coffman's the guy who has the ability and the inclination to fight on. So I would say I'd call it definitely a negative indicator for Coffman if you were betting about whether he was going to win, but I wouldn't rule him out at this point.
Eric, we've known on this program many times between Mike Coffman and Ed Perlmutter, two of the scrappiest politicians we've seen in a generation. But is this a canary in the coal mine for his campaign?
It may be. I think David's political analysis was quite on target. It is a negative indicator, but it is not definitive, to use DC words, dispositive. It is not. It's not the final verdict here. I think it is probably testimony as much on the Republican side as to how bad the national landscape is for them, and that they're having to do triage, even in districts such as Coffman's, in which anyone who counts Mike Coffman out is a fool. I mean, he has proven the ability to withstand challenge after challenge and do so where it's not even all that close. Beat Andrew Romanoff by 9 points, beat Morgan Carroll handily. But I think the national Republicans are really having to concentrate their money into an ever decreasing number of marginal districts to try to somehow desperately hold on to their House majority, which is probably going to be an ambition that they don't realize. It all comes down in my mind to one thing. This is not about Jason Crow, and it is really not about Mike Coffman. Coffman, it is about him to the extent that he is able to outperform the normal Republican in that district just because of the amount of how hard he works it and the amount of time he spends working it. But this is about Donald Trump and the Trump drag. And is the Trump drag big enough to take down an incumbent who usually wins by 7, 8, 9, 10 points? Is it that big a drag? And the answer may well be it is.
Ed, funding makes headlines for a show like this, but are we making too much of the funding story?
No, I don't think we are. I will say, to back up their points, I too have watched Mike Coffman over the years, and if there is anyone who is going to overcome incredibly adverse odds, I would say he would be number one on the state list of people to do it. He has fought, he has gotten to know his community in a way that I think few Republican congressmen have. I mean, the love for him coming out of a group like the Ethiopians in his community that you typically don't see going toward a Republican is pretty strong. That said, what happened here with the Congressional Leadership Fund? I mean, the Democrats are 23 seats behind in the House. They need to win 12 to take back the majority. And so the Republicans have to sit there and start with that big list that says, okay, we want to defend all of these seats. But if we had to lose 10 of them, which ones are they? And this is probably the signal that Coffman falls into one of those, that yes, we'd like to hold on to his seat, but we're more likely to hold on to the following 12 seats, and we need to invest in them right now and just let some of these go. Now, it was notable that somebody came right in a few days later, because the bad press was going to get worse if there was not some kind of staunch of the flow of money here. But this is not a good sign for what nationals hope for this. So, no, I don't think we're blowing this out of proportion. But no, I don't think it means that Jason Crow can sit back and enjoy the rest of the campaign. Coffman's going to be as hard a fighter as you're going to see.
Pat, let's follow up on that. How confident should Jason Crow be this week?
Not that confident. First of all, I'd like to send a thank you note to the Republicans for pulling the money, because these ads have been the worst of the campaign so far. It is the ugliest, with two honorable men running, and the ads stink. So good, we're losing some of those. Coffman's a great campaigner, and although Jason Crow has a really great backstory, Coffman is going to be fighting hard, and it's a ground game in this district. It's going to all the debates, it's all those mailers, which I happen to see because my mother's in the district, and that's going to be how they're going to sway voters. I don't think the TV ads would have done it anyway.